And that's not right. The issue just came up. Everybody in here, I can tell, is probably frustrated. Like, we still have like a month and a half, right? Did you guys want to stop like programming like in March? Nobody came in with that mindset. Nobody had that mindset. And SOAC clearly knew that there was an issue. You guys put bandages over it, but you guys didn't fix it.
Hi, my name is Ziad with the Michigan Journal, and this is this week's news. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the SOAC running out of money in their budget, which means that student organizations are essentially unable to have events on campus moving forward. We're also going to talk about the UM-Dearborn ice hockey team's playoff run. And finally, we're going to talk to Michigan Journal editor and student Stitt and her experience with the alternative spring break. One of the biggest stories from this week was the SOAC running out of money in their budget, which essentially cripples student organizations' ability to have events on campus. The SOAC, or Student Organizations Advisory Council, is a student board whose job it is to distribute money from the university to student organizations for events. So generally, whenever a student organization wants to have an event, they will apply for funding from the SOAC. Think of it kind of like your mom giving you money to go buy things. But imagine one day you go to your mom for money and it turns out that your family's flat broke. That's essentially what happened to students this week when they received an email from SOAC head Anthony Distel saying that the SOAC had run out of money and that they would have to reject all applications for events moving forward. This has led to a lot of concerns and questions about why a student-led body is in charge of dispersing almost $90,000. Students were understandably upset and frustrated, and at an open forum this past Tuesday, they let it be heard, and things got a little chaotic.
There's no issue that's been resolved. It's not fair to us. And now we're just supposed to stop programming. We have organizations that we represent. We have people that literally want to come to campus and need like breaks to these events. And now we're just supposed to tell everybody like, hey, you know what? Like general bodies, the e-board, we just don't do anything. We just have to wait. That's not right. And nothing's been done to happen.
But yeah, so I think changes do have to come from the top. I agree with you. I think that there is nothing stopping someone from taking my position and having the exact same issues next year. So you guys put a lot of events very close together, and I went and did a manual count to see if we were out yet, and found out we're actually already negative. So
at the open forum, the only person speaking was SOAC head Anthony Distel, who's a student. Other students were incredibly frustrated by the fact that there were no faculty present to take their questions on the matter. They specifically wanted to hear from Dean Amy Finley. Distel says that the reason that the SOAC ran out of money was trying to pay deficits from last year. He says last year there were $23,000 that weren't allocated for events and that weren't paid out. This took a big chunk out of their already, he claimed, small $90,000 budget, which meant that they were paying essentially for 2 years in one. Distel says he's working closely with university administrators to try to get more money for the SOAC. But until then, all applications will continue to be rejected, and we're probably going to see a lot less events on campus, which doesn't bode well for anyone.
Hi, I'm Antonio Konja for the Michigan Journal. This is this week's news. The number one UM-Dearborn's men's ice hockey team took part in the WHAC Championship Tournament this weekend. Their first game was Saturday as they took on the number 4 Blue Devils of Lawrence Tech in the semifinal game. Sophomore forward Billy Brock scored early on in the first period, putting the Wolverines up by 1. Then, Alec Allen scored a goal for the Blue Devils, tying it up, and it stayed that way until senior forward Tyler Grote scored in the second period. The Wolverines added another goal right after by forward John Barlow. Then, on the power play by Brock again, sealing the game for a 4-1 win. The tournament continued Sunday, where the Wolverines faced off against the number 2 Warriors of Indiana Tech. The Warriors sealed the game with an empty net goal, giving them a 5-2 win over the Wolverines and the WAC championship. This broke the Wolverines' 17-game win streak. The number 2 Wolverines will play on March 22nd in Frisco, Texas, as they will face the winner of the number 15 Oklahoma University and the number 18 Drexel University in the D1 ACHA Nationals Tournament in the round of 16.
Alternative Spring Break is an opportunity through the Civic Leadership Board where you can go do community service for a week out of town, and then you come back and bring those learning objectives back to your own community.
My experience with Alternative Spring Break was amazing. We went to Goshen, Indiana and worked with an organization called La Casa. Basically what La Casa does is work with immigration, financial planning, and helping to build homes for people who cannot afford it. I think that students should do Alternative Spring Break because it gives the opportunity to create lifelong friendships along with being able to bring ideas back to your own community and help serve those.
The application for Alternative Spring Break launches in the fall, and you go into Victor's link and fill out a Google form. After you do that, you just wait to learn if you have made it to the trip or not.
This has been This Week's News by the Michigan Journal. For more stories like this, make sure that you pick up our paper every Tuesday, you visit our website at michiganjournal.org, and follow our social media.